Hi everyone, welcome to this week's edition of the Certic Security Leaderboard Showcase. I'm your host, Aaron Leibowitz. As you all saw in the last few weeks, in this showcase, I'll be hosting a guest for a live AMA. We'll discuss their work with Certic, the Security Leaderboard, and throw in some live questions from you, the viewers. Today, I'll be joined by the team behind the meme, the myth, the token, Hoge Finance. So first, let's dive into the Security Leaderboard and take a look at their listing. Here you can see what happens when you land at certic.org. You scroll down through all of the projects listed. On the right, you'll see score risers and fallers, as well as community alerts. And let's navigate over to Hoge. You'll see that they have an audit completed, as well as the Skynet active. As we keep scrolling down, we'll go through the security primitives for the Skynet. And at the very bottom, you'll see the social sentiment. Now let's bring on our guests today. Hunter, Joe.
Hey.
Introduce yourself, introduce Hoge, say hi to everyone.
Hey, good to be here. I am Hunter, or commonly known in the Hoge community as Wiser. I invested in Hoge in February 27th, and since then I've just been getting a little bit more and more involved with the team until eventually Hogeman himself decided to bring me onto the team. Joseph here did. Obviously Hoge is a community-driven token that has been around for, I think as of tomorrow, have been around for 3 months. In our relation with CertiK, we're all super excited to have our audit completed, and we know it's just going to open so many doors for us, and it already has. So we're really excited to see where we can go with that. Hogeman or Joseph?
Yeah, my name's Joseph. In the Telegram and Discord, I go by Hogeman. So I've been with the Hoge project since 48 hours after it launched. By day, I'm a research scientist and software developer, and then that takes up like maybe 25% of my time because the rest of it is just dumped into the Hoge project nonstop. So I don't know. Let's get started.
All right, that's excellent. So would you guys mind start by giving us an overview of Hoge? I think there are a lot of viewers here who aren't from your community, maybe from the Certic community, and aren't so familiar with you guys.
Yeah, so the Hoge project is centered around a token that was launched on the Ethereum blockchain. It's an ERC20 token. It features deflationary tokenomics. So if you've been following since like January, February, a lot of these projects launched. It's called fair launch, which means the original developers put it out there. The entire supply was moved onto Uniswap, and then they gave up control of the smart contract. So anybody who wanted to get the token had to buy in. And after that, they just gave it over to the community, including like the domain and any other associated media. And they wanted to see if the community could take it somewhere. So the deflationary aspect is every time there's a transaction with the token, 2% is taxed, and about 1% of that is redistributed into all the holders' accounts, weighted by your current wallet percentage. What am I forgetting, Wiser?
I think that's a pretty good rundown. Yeah, so it's as of recently, we have formed a DAO hybrid model, which we hope to bring fully into a DAO, where the community gets to say on everything, and hopefully people like Joseph and myself can take a step back and let this be 100% all decisions by the community. So we're really excited for that day.
Hey, that's a great goal and a great intro to the project. And you guys clearly have a strong community. We see the chat already scrolling here. Lots of love for you guys.
We definitely have a great community.
Yeah.
Let's dive into a couple questions here. First of all, do we know who the original founder of Hoge is, who released the original code?
No, we don't. They remained anonymous. What happened is after a few days, everyone was waiting around. There's like maybe 300 people in the Telegram chat waiting around to see what would happen. It's like, are we going to abandon this or are we going to keep it going? And like someone said, well, I'll make a website. Another person said, well, I'll make a browser game. And another person said, well, I'll make an NFT printer. That was me. And so we decided to start collaborating and working together. And the original people, they decided to remain anonymous. They just stepped away from it entirely and gave us whatever control we wanted. And by control, I mean just like management of the Telegram group or chat. So it's simple stuff like that. And I would say going forward, the Hoge project becomes less and less about managing the token and the asset itself, and more about managing the community and participating in the community. So now we are looking for ways to build tools for each other to succeed, and we just happen to all be invested in the same thing.
Very cool. That's a great founding story, as some of the commenters out here are saying. Quite a unique story for the founding of a project.
Mm-hmm.
Truly community driven, as you guys said.
Yeah, it's a little weird. It's a little weird because the traditional model doesn't apply, right? Usually you would have an ICO and you would raise money for your project and you would be solving some like blockchain solution, It'd be like, I guess they call them L1 solutions, where you're developing like blockchain technologies itself, or L2, you would be making apps that help people interface with the blockchain. And we're like, we are not doing that at all. Instead, we are providing like the community and the economy to actually have people grow that themselves. And I think it's just wonderful.
Yeah, it's taken a whole lot of community effort and honestly a whole lot of luck too to get to the point where we are, where it's like we have this beautiful wallet distribution in terms of no one person containing more than 1% of the total supply, and it also being in this perfect situation to make it so community driven and have the ability to step back and let the reins over to everyone.
For sure. So when you say you hand the reins over to everyone, you guys have a Twitter account that's run by somebody who has to be on the team. Who's your chief meme officer? Who's running that?
Yeah, it's I think Jay Rocco right now is the chief.
Yeah, so there's actually a few people that are currently logged into our Twitter, but Jay Rocco right now is really running a lot of the show, as well Jay Rizzo, and we have a few other people who are all running the show in terms of getting these memes out there. But I'll say, I don't think any of us can create as amazing memes as our community does and post in their Telegram or Discord. So what we oftentimes do is we see these memes that are just absolutely beautiful and we need to share them with the rest of the world. And so we'll take them and post them out there.
I'm going to have to join that Discord and check out the meme channel.
Absolutely.
So you guys have a clearly demonstrated interest in security, something that's a little bit unexpected from such a community-driven project with sort of, as you said, no problem that you were trying to solve to start with. What drove you to seek out an audit, to work with Certic, to onboard the Skynet solution?
I think in the world of cryptocurrency, I mean, there's just so many questions around what is the security. And with Hoge, we actually have seen like a lot of first-time cryptocurrency buyers. We've seen it constantly in the chats where people will saying, hey, this is the first project I've ever gotten into. Now, it's not technically the first coin they've bought because most of them have to buy Ethereum first. But we have seen a lot of new users. And we realize it's very important to have as much transparency into Hoge as possible. And that's what we want to drive, and that's what we want to show. And Certic obviously is world renowned for being one of the top names in security for cryptocurrency. So partnering with Certic and having them look into all of the nooks and crannies of everything that we're doing is exactly what we were going for. And so that's why this partnership has been so great for us.
That's a great answer. That makes a lot of sense. So, all right, let's dive into a couple community questions before we move on. Here's an interesting one from John Galt, someone clearly with some decent taste. You talk about the rumored Hoge dev team appearance on Barstool. Is Portnoy going to make an appearance with you guys?
Yes. Yeah.
Really?
I think last night. It's in a podcast, right? I don't know if it's video or not. I don't keep up with Barstool Sports. I'm sorry. Don't shoot me. But we got an invitation yesterday, the middle of the day. I was just like working and I saw it go by and I was like, oh, that's neat. And apparently everyone really cares about this. They're starting to get social media attention, and or I guess our community is really pushing like the organic social media route for awareness. If you think about it, like, you could pay for advertising or you could try and go viral. And I'm shocked at how successful social media has been in raising awareness, like truly shocked. And it's not that we are dominating, the conversation anywhere. It's that there is enough space now and enough conversation happening that we can have our own piece of it, and it is like relevant to people's lives. So That's what I'd say about that.
That's excellent. Very cool. And I'm going to have to keep an eye out for that appearance.
I will say likely, as far as we know, Portnoy himself will not be on the podcast, but there's one thing I can guarantee you is that Portnoy has heard about Hoge by now. We have had constant people reaching out to him. We've even reached out to people that know him personally, and we're trying to put in a good word. So Portnoy definitely does know about Hoge by now. I'm not sure if he'll actually be on the call tomorrow, but hopefully soon.
Got it. Very cool. So when you guys think about the Hoge community and the project, 5 years from now, years in the future, you clearly want it to be fully transitioned into a DAO, community run, nothing remotely centralized. What do you want the sentiment around the project to look like? What do you want people to be saying, thinking? What sort of rings true when they hear the name Hoge?
Yeah, so it's interesting because being fully decentralized and autonomous, like you could be fully decentralized but not autonomous if you want to make business transactions in the real world. Like there needs to be a legal entity that signs papers, and there needs to be someone accountable when money changes hands. And so we can be decentralized and we can be mostly autonomous, especially through like articles of incorporation that state, you know, all the officers have to carry out only what the community does. So in that sense, I think it is DAO-like. In 5 years' time, I hope the project continues to grow and succeed and raise awareness of the solutions that blockchain can bring to the modern world. And there are a lot of problems that we have right now, which restructuring of financial systems and various tools to help facilitate transactions it's going to solve a lot of the current like societal issues, but it's a hard road to get there. And so Hoge helps people get to that point. I don't know. What do you have, Weiser? I saw you.
No, I think that was extremely well put. That's perfect. I personally in 5 years, where I think we've had similar questions before, where Hogeman and I have actually been on the same AMA before, but my personal goal is two things. One is use cases and more use cases. This, as we say a lot, this project is going to go exactly as far as the community wants to take it. And the community is already talking daily in our voice chats about this idea that they have for a use case, this idea they have for a use case. And seeing that come to fruition, which it already has started, is amazing. And then the other thing I'd really like to see is sort of the ability for anyone on any sort of official team to take a step back, just reform into the community, just become members of the community, just like anyone else, and simply allow the DAO to run everything, to where these decisions are going to be voted upon, budget decisions are voted upon by everyone. So that's where I'd really like to see us in a few years.
Awesome. Well, I think you guys are reaching big, and not outside of the realm of achievable either. So I've actually seen that you guys have done some charitable campaigns with Hoge so far, specifically around animal shelters, if I'm right. Can you talk a little bit about your work there, what you guys have done, and any future plans for similar?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is a core principle of Hoge. Is one of the founding principles is being able to take the interest of the community, especially their charitable interest, and begin to promote it, begin investing in it, and begin giving back. I will say Hoge has already made a lot of people a decent amount of money, and I personally believe it will continue to do so. But the amazing thing is we're seeing so many people already giving back any of that amount of money that they've made. And we've been so far able, I believe within our first, I don't want to say the exact amount of time, but we were able to raise over $90,000 in just our first few weeks towards different animal shelters and everything. Pretty soon we're going to be sponsoring and partnering with several different charities. I know the community is talking a whole lot right now about the 9/11 charity fund and different opportunities that we have with different animal shelters. So I think everyone's really excited about that.
That's great. I really love to hear that people are taking their money made and putting it towards great things. We saw with the GME apes going towards the gorillas and different animal foundations like that. It was awesome, and I'm really happy to hear that Hoge is doing similar. 2 live questions for you. Let's start with, when do you guys expect to be on a US exchange? I don't know if this person meant a centralized exchange. I'll assume that's what they meant, but
Yes, so this is a first. We've never heard that question before. No, so we expect to be on a U.S. exchange. I will tell everyone what I've consistently said to the community. I cannot give dates. We can't give dates or anything. Nothing is set in stone. With getting into the U.S., there's a whole lot that's going to be regarded around SEC compliance and regulation, and that's why we've actually recently brought in a absolutely one of the top U.S. cryptocurrency lawyers who has helped us getting everything set up and everything we'll need to be able to converse with these U.S. exchanges. Personally, I think one of the things we're aiming for is June. I think if I will say if we're not on by the end of June, I think someone in our community might be upset. But that's already what we shared with the community. So
yeah, not surprising to hear that question come up time and again. I'm sure every AMA you're going to go on, you'll have the same. So, keep it standard, industry-wide responses. Every other project I've heard pretty much says the same. It's what you got to say when you're in that process.
Yeah, I put it on the roadmap for Q2, like the third day. It's happening in Q2.
It's happening in Q2. Yes.
There you go, guys. We got to a real answer here. So let's go with another live question here. Is there any noteworthy upcoming developments on the project? I'm going to assume this extends a little bit beyond code base itself and into more partnerships, anything around that. Feel free to take it wherever you guys want.
Yeah, so I've been working on the non-fungible token, smart contracts, web server, and eventually it will become an e-commerce platform. And that's really like a popular roadmap item for these coins because it looks, when you browse around, it looks like you can copy paste OpenSea or Rarible or Nifty or whatever it is, but it's actually a significant amount of work, both in like the partnerships you bring to have, like artists or musicians make their non-fungible tokens and make your platform popular, but also the technology itself and running through the payments and the transactions and all of the features. So the upcoming development is our second phase of NFT printing will be happening either next week or next weekend for everybody that currently holds Hoge. You get to make just one, just like the original, and it'll be, the printer itself will be live for 48 hours. So there's a limited time window in which you can make it. So don't miss your opportunity. All you have to pay for is the gas fees. So I'd say that's pretty notable for me personally. I've been working on that, a lot of development time.
Well, that sounds very exciting and like a rare and unique opportunity. I'm sure when we're talking about 5 years from now, those OG NFTs are going to be quite the thing.
That's right. It'll never happen again. This is it. As long as the blockchain lives, you will have your one.
That's definitely quite a thing. So there were some questions in the Twitter when we posted about the results of your audit. And I just want to mention to people, go to certic.org, navigate to Hoge's page, and you'll be able to click right into their audit, see the full results, keep up with the Skynet. All of the on-chain monitoring data is right there for you. So no need to ask the team. You can actually check that out yourself. Continuing on, let's talk about...
Well, we could do the audit a little bit. I wanted to say...
Yeah, especially if there are any concerns or questions or clarifications, we would love to talk about that.
Dive in wherever you guys want. I'm just scrolling through the chat looking for some questions to bring up.
Yeah, so I remember when this started, like a lot of the people who've been in the blockchain space a lot were saying, we got to get a CertiK audit. We got to get a CertiK audit. I didn't understand it because I haven't been doing blockchain startups for a long time. This is pretty much my first one. And so I was like, okay, well, I mean, you could, but, we have 10 or more Solidity developers in the chat, and I've been talking to all of them, and they say, the code's fine, the code's fine. So what's the big deal? But I'd say it has been a really good experience, and you guys lend a lot of credibility and went much deeper than some of the other developers did. And I think we had just a few minor points like, variable shadowing in the code, and there was dead code because the original developers, they weren't too concerned with the code aspect. They were concerned with the community aspect. At least that's how I read it. So the I don't know. Do you want to talk about the biggest concern, Wiser? The centralization of privilege.
Yeah. So in reality, there is one privilege that exists there's sort of only one privilege that really exists for the developers, which currently we have one power basically, and that is to whitelist or blacklist people from the redistribution, or specific wallets from the redistribution. Now, the main reason this exists is because when we first started listing on exchanges like Whitebit, we were realizing these Whitebits are amassing very, very, very large wallets, and they're still getting the redistribution. However, not every single exchange that gets that redistribution has the technology currently in place to determine how much should be airdropped to each of their users. So some of these exchanges said, hey, we just got like an extra $50,000 this month in Hoge. What do we do with it? So that's when we have this one power that we have, which is to exclude an exchange from the redistribution. And I think that was one of the notes in the audit that was mentioned.
Got it. That makes sense, and that was one of the points mentioned in the audit. Glad you guys could actually clarify that.
Yeah.
So the power manual burns at any time.
No, we can't do any manual burns. Everything that's happening is happening, and we will never change the smart contract or the tokenomics. Like, it's set in stone, and we're proceeding as is. And we don't even control it, right? So yeah. Although we can include or exclude wallets, that's held by a multi-sig, by people that are trusted in the community. And in the near future, it's looking like we'll just add the burn wallet as the owner so that nobody can touch the smart contract ever again.
And those are two sort of very standard security practices, having it in a multi-sig contract to start with and a multi-sig wallet, and then pointing it to a burn endpoint for anyone who's not familiar. So great practices that we're big fans of at CertiK. So can you guys speak to sort of your work with CertiK? How was the process of getting an audit done, the choice to onboard Skynet, and anything around working with us?
This actually began before I joined the core team, so I'll let Joseph answer that.
Let's put it back up here.
Yeah, it was good. So the big problem with these projects is for the average user to come in and purchase, say, Hoge or one of these random other meme coins, is you have absolutely no way to assess the risk of your investment, right? And so they look at it and they say, I don't know, it feels kind of sketchy. I have this browser plugin which will apparently eat my money, and then I go to this site I've never heard of, and the numbers change, and is that what I'm supposed to be doing? And then they also hear that a lot of people, there's a lot of scams running around, there's a lot of hacks running around, and so they don't, there's a lot of trust issues right now. Although the DeFi, like the finance trust incentives, are aligned for individual users, it's very hard to understand this. And it is insanely complicated. Like, I'm not knocking anyone. It took me a very long time to understand this. And so I'd say the process with working with CertiK is we reach out to you. We ask you and negotiate on how the audit's going to proceed. The Skynet score makes a lot of sense because it's an ongoing thing. Like, you want to make sure that no one is manipulating the price, so to speak. And so Skynet will keep an eye on that. You want to make sure that there's enough liquidity in the liquidity pool for the decentralized exchanges so that you can always get in and out. And you want to make sure that people are not making calls to the smart contract doing shady things. And that's what the Skynet security score is giving you. It's telling you that, yes, it's stable, and the numbers aren't just going to suddenly go to zero. Aside from that, I think it gives a big boost in credibility to say we're working with industry standard partners that know what they're doing, and they're going to be honest with the community regardless of what we want.
Yeah, that's for sure. I think everyone knows, anyone who's worked with us for sure knows they're not getting any special treatment, regardless how big or small the project. The audit's going to be the same, the process is going to be the same. There's no privileged information on that front. Well, as we start to wrap it up, let's go for a few final live questions. Somebody's asking about a Cardano ETH cross-chain bridge. Any plans to build any bridges, anything like that?
Yeah, I've been hearing from Cardano folks since we started. They're very excited about this. I got nothing against Cardano, but I don't think the smart contracts are live yet, and that's how it operates. That's the only way to run a bridge.
Yeah, that's the case. There's not much you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, building these bridges isn't really up to Joseph or I or anyone else on the team. It is whoever chooses to fund the liquidity for that and create it themselves. Listen, will there be a Cardano bridge? If someone from Cardano or Hoge wants it and they want to make it, it'll be there.
Fair enough. That's a good answer. And I think we know that building bridges is no easy task. So for the community to understand, those are extremely difficult and intensive and require a lot of time and work. I know some top teams working on bridges for different chains, and well, they can spend months and months with really top engineers and still have little to show for it. It's just sort of the nature of building cross-chain right now. It's one of those sort of L1, L2 spaces that needs to be solved over the coming years.
Yeah, so I mean, even then, it's not even straight like solidity development, right? You got to run the whole host. You got to build an entire financial accounting system for both sides, and then reconcile it in real time, and then you're like the central source of that. If you want to decentralize it, then you got to move it out to all the validators. It is a big task. He's not joking.
Yeah, exactly that. All right, last questions. Come on, somebody's got to toss in a great question here to end it on. All right, here's one for you. Cardano smart contracts will be ready when Hoge hits $1. That's your final point.
Yes,
love it. Yeah, no, I mean, I like the development of the different ecosystems. I was talking last night on the Twitter Spaces that it was a shame that proof of stake has taken so long on Ethereum, and I know they have so much like technical debt. You could actually talk about this better than I could.
I've been in the space for a while, and we've been hearing rumors of that since what, 2015?
Right, it's so sad. But what was interesting to me is the transfer fee is the same as the Bitcoin transfer fee to me, or not to me, but that they track each other pretty well due to market forces. But yeah, and it's a shame that people are able to take these great ideas and implement them faster when, Ethereum has just been stuck in the tech debt for 5 years now because they are such good support and innovation for blockchain technologies. I love what they do. I hope, honestly, in 5 years, I didn't even think of this earlier, I hope that the Hoge project can partner with Ethereum for moving blockchain technology forward, because my scientist job is as an atmospheric scientist, so I'm very aware of like energy problems going forward, greenhouse gases, global warming, and climate change, and all of that. And for blockchain to succeed, it has to solve that problem. For itself, it has to be less energy intensive, because if it continues to grow, I mean, it just eats up the common energy use resources, and it'll consume us all through greed, and we don't want that at all. So there's my mini rant.
Certainly a big debate today around the energy consumption, and a lot of people like to point to the energy consumption of gold or the US banking system or anything like that. And I'd say none of those are quite fair comparisons. We're building for the age of Web3. We should be looking to the future, not keeping eyes on the past.
Absolutely. That's a good way to put it.
definitely.
Yeah. And somebody actually just asked, we should be able to sort by security score from the Skynet on Certic.org. You can already do that. So go play around with that. You'll be able to see that tool is really great for you. It's going to allow you to sort of have all of the data you need for DYOR on the projects we've worked with. And make sure to check that out. Guys, make sure you followed all the rules to be eligible for the reward pool today. It's been a great AMA so far, and I want to make sure anyone who is eligible does not miss out. Please.
What's the reward pool at?
I'm not sure. I'll have to check the tweet. I think it was $250 worth of BNB or Certic. I'm not.
I think we can throw another million Hoge in there.
Team, there you go.
I think we can commit to that. So if you want to include that in there.
There you go, guys. Wow, what a generous team right here. pushing right at the end. I hope you guys got your questions in then, because that's a real worthwhile reward pool all of a sudden. All right. Thank you very much to Joe and Hunter here for the AMA. I think this has been an awesome broadcast. Hope to keep up with you guys and keep looking to the future on Hoge. Guys, remember to like and subscribe, and thank the team for joining us today.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
All right. Cheers, guys.
Thumbs up.
Bye.